Can you briefly describe your crossbreeding program?
Okay, well, I guess basically it's a totally integrated crossbreeding program which arose by us using Angus bulls over our Hereford herd. I mean, the history of the place was it was a large Hereford herd and a very good Hereford herd. However, I guess through the ease of sourcing low birth weight Angus bulls that had a little bit more data, we started to use them over our heifers, and to utilise the F1 female the best, we kept them and started, instigated the crossbreeding program from there.
What advantages do you see in your crossbreeding program?
Well, I guess what we had to do was go to the other end and say, well, okay, we'd established a market. So what were the best cattle to supply that market for 12 months a year? And our market is a local trade market for a large part of the year. We do have an alliance with 2 butcher shops that we supply for 12 months a year. And we have to be able to supply cattle for 12 months a year and calve once a year. And that's the probably integral part of the whole thing, is that we needed cattle with physiological differences that would let us fit into those markets for the 12 months. And by going for the crossbreeding program, we just found that we were able to source cattle with a bit of European blood, and we were very mindful of staying within the bounds of MSA, because all this meat we sell is graded MSA product. So we were very mindful of staying in the bounds of MSA and following those pathways. So we designed a crossbreeding program which was going to utilise more growth, a bit more muscle, a bit less fat, so that we can get cattle off at a younger age. The F1 female, the Hereford Angus female, is an ideal mother. So we were able to get calves off at 8 months of age, and what it meant was we can sell cattle for 12 months of the year between 8 and 20 months of age. And the crossbred cattle probably fit the first sort of 2 to 3 months of the year, and then we start moving towards our purebred cattle. And then the crossbred cattle, as they get bigger, our other major market is the EU market. So we're finding that we get into the EU market at a younger age, earlier weight, and I guess we're trying to have strawberries out of season. We found that these cattle were at a heavier age before Christmas, where a lot of people with more traditional British bred cattle were sort of led closer to 2 years of age to reach that 300 kilos dressed.
So just to clarify, you have 3 different breed types that you are producing here. One is Hereford straight breeding, 2 is Angus cross Herefords, and then 3 is those F1 Angus Herefords mated to a 50% Euro crossbred bull.
Well, I guess first I must just clarify that the F1 Hereford Angus is a bit biased because they're all out of heifers, So obviously we can't compare them in weight. So we can just assume straight away that they're going to go towards the tail end of our program. But there's no doubt that the 4-way cross cattle are the first ones off. The top end of the straight Herefords are getting there too, but for sheer numbers, consistency, the crossbred cattle are definitely the first ones off. And then we sort of divide them up into heifers and steers. We're pretty keen to get the heifers off as fast as we can before they start cycling, and they're purely terminal. So if we have to keep them any length of time, we sort of look to using sort of things such as spaying, which is perfectly okay because we're drafting cattle according to weight, not according to sex. So we do find that those 4-way cross cattle definitely fit the bill of going off earliest.
A 4th breed is included because you use a crossbred bull as your terminal sire. Explain the reason why you're using a crossbred bull.
Well, the basic reason was we wanted to maintain 25% European breed. So we were looking to get maximum heterosis with the 4 crosses. We've already got Angus, we've already got Hereford in our operation. I might also add that we breed all our own bulls for the purebred operation. We don't for the crossbred. So we were looking to utilise Charolais. We were trying to maintain more growth because we're remembering that we are going to the EU market later. So we wanted a British breed with the most growth. So that's why we selected Shorthorn, and we went for the Charolais for more muscularity and a little less fat. And the other thing with Shorthorns and Angus and Herefords are renowned for eating quality. So, that paramount, our whole operation is driven by the end result.
So why didn't you just go with a purebred Charolais?
Because I guess there's 2 reasons. One is that we didn't want the 50% Euro, that gave us 50% euro. You know, we just didn't want to compromise eating quality at all. I mean, certainly if we're just trying to grow mass or go purely for EU, that'd be probably okay. The other major consideration we have is that, you know, our winters are pretty torrid. So, you know, we've often asked why don't we go euro on our female? And, you know, the maintenance factor in a crossbreeding factory of females is very important. And we just find these are the most efficient females to carry through the winter.
Can you explain how you select your bulls from your straight-bred Hereford through to your Angus and your crossbred bulls?
Well, most definitely. I guess the whole secret of breeding a good crossbred is staying with good purebreds. You know, we're very proud of our purebreds, and we're absolute religious disciples of the breed plan program. So all our animals are selected around a balanced set of figures, and that is, it's no good us selecting low birth weight bulls to put out our heifers if we've been selecting high birth weight in our Hereford herd. So we've got to moderate birth weight, we've got to look for increased growth, and we're very, very strict on the carcass breed plan figures too, because, you know, we're selling an end result. You know, our product goes straight to the plate. You know, we're going straight from the farm to retail. So, yeah, muscle shape and size and yield is very important to us. So we definitely look at all those breed plan figures in selecting our purebreds. Obviously, we don't have access to that with the crossbred animals. You know, we're relying on the hybrid vigour to take the place of the extra gains we might get through selecting high growth cattle over breed plan. So, but you know, but we do go to we're careful. We go to herds that have bred these cattle, the half-bred bulls. And, you know, notice I call them crossbreds and half-breds and not composites. We haven't sort of gone down that line. They're purely crossbreds. But we do go to places that have selected these bulls by utilising breed plan, because, again, you know, there's no free lunches. If we start trying to increase mass and muscle and bone and everything else, we increase birth weight. So, you know, we don't want to go down that road of having calf fatality.
What are the management considerations of using a crossbreeding program such as yours?
Well, I guess, you know, the thing we've got to be mindful of is our replacement females all the time, you know, because by having a large part of our herd going off, the female drop of them going off as terminal, we've got to always be mindful of the fact that we've got to have enough replacement purebred breeders coming on to keep our purebred operation in place. You know, but that's the only real constraint. And I think we've got enough numbers now that we're increasing carrying capacity and to allow us to run more numbers, and we are finding that we've got plenty of replacement females. And I guess, you know, it puts the pressure on purebreds. I mean, they've got to compete. If they don't compete, we can't just breed purebred cattle because we love them. We've got to breed them because they perform. So, you know, that's one of the constraints, I guess, we're just mindful of all the time is, you know, producing enough of our replacement females.
You have a highly developed place, and you said you use a fair bit of fertiliser. Do you think it's important to complement your crossbreeding program?
Without a doubt, because, I mean, at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is marry nutrition and genetics, you know, and we're trying to turn off kilograms of beef per hectare off this place. So, you know, we're utilising both. I mean, we're utilising the best genetics we can get and the best pastures we can get, you know, and the best pastures need feeding and fertilising, and you know, the weight gains we get are very rewarding. And I guess because we're in an alliance, the only way we can manipulate dollars per head is the weight we sell our cattle off at. So, you know, we have a set cents per kilo, so the heavier we can get them off at a younger age, obviously the more the return there is to us. So that's why we do concentrate heavily on pastures.